Have you ever started something with absolute certainty? And then, a few days later, your own mind began building a perfect argument for why you should stop. You don't say, "I'm quitting." You say, "Maybe this is not the right time. I need to prepare more. I'll come back when I have more energy. I just need to think about it." And the dangerous part is that it doesn't feel like sabotage. It feels like logic. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your brain starts negotiating with you the moment things get hard. And you'll learn a Navy SEAL-inspired method to keep moving when motivation disappears, stress rises, and your old identity starts pulling you back. Not by pretending you're fearless, not by forcing fake positivity, but by learning what to do in the exact moment where most people abandon the life they said they wanted. Picture a young man sitting in a cheap apartment after midnight. The room is quiet except for the sound of an old laptop fan struggling on the table. There is a notebook open beside him, half filled with ideas that looked brilliant 3 hours ago and now look embarrassing. He has just uploaded his first video. The lighting is bad. The audio is worse. He keeps looking away from the camera because his notes are taped to the wall. His voice sounds unsure, like he is asking permission to be there. He refreshes the page. 4 views. One of them is probably his own. No comments. No signal that anything is working. And this is the moment most people never survive. Not because they are weak, because the beginning gives you almost no evidence. You work and nothing happens. You publish and nobody cares. You try to change, and your life still looks exactly the same. The short term can make effort look stupid. And if you don't understand what is happening inside your mind, you will mistake silence for failure. You will look at the first ugly attempt and say, "Maybe I'm not made for this." You will look at the first week of discipline and say, "Nothing is changing." You will look at the first rejection and say, "This was a mistake." But the beginning is not proof that you are incapable. The beginning is the toll. Everybody wants the confident version, the skilled version, the version with results, rhythm, proof, and authority. But nobody gets that version first. First comes the awkward version, the one with shaky hands, bad timing, no audience, no applause, no evidence except the decision to come back tomorrow. And this is where the real battle starts. The human brain likes fast, predictable, emotionally safe rewards. But every important project demands the opposite: repetition, uncertainty, boredom, and delayed reward. That is the conflict. Your future needs patience. Your nervous system wants relief. So when you come home tired and sit down to build the thing you said mattered, when you open the document, when you start editing the video, when you pick up the phone to call the client, when you try to study after a full day of work, your brain does not ask, "Will this change my life in 5 years?" It asks, "Can I escape this discomfort right now?" And today, escape is always 1 inch away. A phone, a snack, a notification, a new plan, a better idea, a fake emergency, a sudden need to organize your desk before doing the thing that actually matters. That is how quitting usually begins. Not with a dramatic decision, with a small negotiation. This is why Navy SEAL training is such a useful lens. Because in extreme conditions, the enemy is not only pain, it is anticipation. Imagine being told to run 20 miles. Cold, exhausted, soaked, sleep-deprived. The run itself is brutal. But what breaks people is often not the run. It is the thought after the run. What happens next? Will there be another test? What if this never ends? How much more can I take? The body is dealing with the present, but the mind is suffering in the future. And when your mind leaves the current step and starts carrying everything that might come after it, the weight becomes unbearable. So the first rule is simple. Finish the 20 miles. Not the whole future. Not the next 10 years. Not the entire business. Not the entire transformation. Just the 20 miles in front of you. Shrink the battlefield. Most people are not tired because the task is impossible. They are tired because they're doing one task while mentally carrying the whole mountain. You are not writing one page. You are thinking about the entire book. You are not recording one video. You are thinking about the channel, the thumbnails, the algorithm, the comments, the money, the competition, the next 10 videos, and whether your whole life will change. No wonder your brain wants to escape. It is not exhausted from a work. It is exhausted from imaginary weight. So ask a smaller question. What is the next movement? Write the next sentence. Film the next take. Make the next call. Do the next set. Open the file. Send the message. The brain can survive almost anything when the task is small enough to touch. But it panics when you ask it to emotionally process your entire future at once. The second rule is this: borrow strength from tonight. There are two versions of the same day. In the first version, you plan to get a lot done. By 3 in the afternoon, you are behind. You feel tired, irritated, slightly ashamed. So you say, forget it. Today is already lost. Then you pick up the phone. One video becomes 10. 10 minutes becomes 3 hours. And at night, you lie down with that heavy feeling. Not because you rested, because you escaped. In the second version, the same thing happens. It is 3 in the afternoon. You are behind. You are tired. But this time, you ask a different question. How will I feel tonight if I keep going? Not do I feel like doing it now? That question will betray you. The present version of you wants comfort. Ask the future version, the one who will lie in bed tonight and either say, I escaped again, or I kept my word. That matters because self-respect is built quietly. Nobody sees it. Nobody claps. Nobody gives you a medal for not opening Instagram. But your brain records it. Every time you do what you said you would do, you create evidence. And every time you break the promise, you also create evidence. This is why discipline is not just about productivity. It is about identity. You are teaching your brain what kind of person you are. Not with affirmations, with receipts. The third rule is this: calm the body before you believe the mind. When stress rises, your breathing changes. It gets shorter, faster, higher in the chest. And your brain reads that as a signal. Something is wrong. Find relief. That relief might be your phone. It might be food. It might be sleep. It might be another productivity video instead of the uncomfortable task itself. This is why motivational quotes often fail. Because when your body feels threatened, your mind becomes a lawyer for escape. It will defend quitting. It will defend scrolling. It will defend postponing. It will defend starting again Monday. Not because those are good decisions, but because the body wants relief. So before you argue with your thoughts, regulate the body that is producing them. Breathe in slowly, then breathe out longer than you breathed in. For example, inhale for 2 counts. Exhale for 4. Do it again and again. Not as magic, as a signal. A longer exhale tells the nervous system, there is no emergency. We are not being chased. We can stay here. And sometimes, that tiny pause is where your future survives. Because many bad decisions are made in a body that feels unsafe. The fourth rule is the one most people ignore. Do not turn a bad moment into an identity. There is a huge difference between saying, I procrastinated today, and saying, I am a procrastinator. The first sentence describes a behavior. The second builds a prison. I failed today is painful. I am a failure is programming. I avoided the work can be corrected. I never finish anything becomes a cage. The brain is always listening for instructions. And some people spend years giving themselves commands disguised as honesty. I'm lazy. I'm not disciplined. I always quit. I'm not consistent. Then they wonder why change feels impossible. But identity is not changed by insulting yourself. It is changed by creating new evidence. So be precise. Today I avoided the work. Today I escaped discomfort. Today I broke focus. But this is a behavior, not a life sentence. That distinction keeps the door open. And when the door is open, you can still return. The Navy SEAL lesson is not that you should become emotionless. It is not that you should ignore pain. And it is not that discipline means destroying yourself. The lesson is that quitting often begins before you notice it. It begins when the mind leaves the current step and starts carrying the whole future. It begins when the body feels stress and searches for relief. It begins when one bad moment becomes proof of a bad identity. So the real skill is not motivation. The real skill is staying with the next step long enough for the future to find you. Finish the 20 miles. Borrow strength from the version of you who will be proud tonight. Calm the body before you believe the mind. And never let one weak moment name you. Because the version of you that wins is not created when everything feels clear. It is created in the moment where your brain says, stop, and you answer, not yet. If this video made you realize that your biggest limits are not just habits, but identity patterns, I created the Identity Reprogramming Blueprint to go deeper into this process. It is a practical guide for rebuilding the self-image behind procrastination, fear, and self-sabotage. You can find the link in the description.